Are you ready to challenge yourself and think bigger? I'm your host, Marianne Marchese, and together we'll hear the unfiltered, unscripted stories of those who've taken big risks and transformed their bold ideas into reality. Season 2 is brought to you by multi-award-winning law firm 𝐓𝐸𝐽, where bold ideas thrive. Okay, it may be an overused word, but Tom Ormerod truly is redefining luxury accommodation and home ownership. Almost 13 years ago, he co-founded Luxico with his wife Alex, Australia's first home hotel offering VIPs, families and affluent travellers access to Australia's best homes with hotel-style 24/7 concierge support and access to behind-the-scenes local experiences. Tom is obviously a serial entrepreneur, and in 2025 he founded Staylonger, an accommodation platform that taps into the 30 days plus market. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you. You're obviously quite passionate about the accommodation space. Tell me a little bit about how that came about. What was your career before you founded Luxico?
Well, I had nearly 20 years in real estate, and I really came out of, I'd sold a business. I had a joint venture with Knight Frank. So my background was selling off-the-plan apartments. And at one point, I had some clients that gave me an intervention and they said, "Tom, you look miserable. Why are you doing this?" And I said, "Well, I'm making you shitloads of cash. Like, what's the issue?" They said, "We're worried about you." And it was one of the kindest things that someone's done for me. They sat me down and I went home and I said to my wife, "I think I'm miserable." And she says,
"People are telling me I am."
We know.
Gosh.
So what are you going to do about it? So I sold out of that business, and then I had a 2-year restraint from that business and took the family away down to the beach and decided what to do next. And it was through that time away and some travel and experiences overseas where we decided that there might be a gap in the furnished accommodation market, and had these bizarre experiences where we were trying to find the key under a pot plant or picking up a key for a home at the fish and chip shop, and thought, there's got to be a better way here.
Yeah, so you went and created it.
Yeah.
And that was really the spark of that idea, was traveling yourself with your family and just noticing this totally untapped market for...
It was actually on both sides of the equation, both as a guest but also as a homeowner. So we had a home that we had gone down to the beach, and it was in the very early days of Airbnb. And I was overseas trying to organise some maintenance for some windows that had blown in, and I thought, this is too difficult. Wouldn't it be great if somebody could do this? And we created a service that was for high quality homes, but obviously it's evolved a lot since then.
Yeah, and you touched on Airbnb was kind of early days, but it was really that period of time back in 2013-ish that it was starting to boom, that short-term holiday home rentals. But what did you see that was lacking in that short-term holiday space that made you then think, okay, well, we need to create something like Luxico?
Well, I don't think it was a particularly conscious decision. That the whole category at the time was very much focused on holiday homes, more in regional holiday areas. And we'd renovated some homes and bought some terrace homes in inner Melbourne. And there was a sort of an arbitrage between long-term rentals and short-term furnished rentals, and we're getting a much higher yield. So it started as a property play, and we bought a number of these houses, and then we'd moved down to the beach, and my neighbours said, look, who was divorced, and said, "I've got this place in St. George's Road in Toorak, like nobody lives there. What can you do about it? Can you make some money?" And then we were sitting in a restaurant in Sorrento and thought, oh my God, I think we should build a company. Maybe there's other people that we can help as well. So it really came from that
great.
experience.
It was a real need. Like people were telling you there's this need, we've got this, unused space, and that it could be put to good use.
That's right. And then it was really figuring out, where do the corporates, where do the affluent families stay, and what sort of channels are they using? So, we absolutely love Airbnb, and they're a partner in one of our businesses today, and they've done great things for the category. But we also thought, what about sort of high-end homes? How are they served as such?
And was that difficult to kind of tap into a market that's obviously it's affluent, it's premium, people have got to have the money for it, and that's not people that you come across every day. How did that kind of impact the way that you stood out to that market?
Was very much trust-based. So most of the inquiries was referral-based. So really what happened with that example that I gave you down in Portsea and Sorrento was that we just started getting these phone calls from people that were members of the Sorrento Golf Club. And it built from there. And then really what ended up happening is we had a whole lot of celebrities stay. So and then, we sign NDAs, but eventually they walk around the neighbourhood and people find out and they go, have a dinner, party. And it's like, did you hear who was staying at so-and-so's house? And then they want someone that could be a tennis player or, whatever, it's a Grand Prix driver or that type of thing. So it really, word got out from there, and there was more people that wanted to list their homes knowing that we had the guest demand.
The great clientele. This is like before the age of influencer marketing. You were already doing it with people walking around Sorrento. That's amazing. Yeah. You're ahead of your time. And I'm such a lover of reality TV, and I was so excited to see your business turned into a TV show, $1 Billion Playground on Binge recently. It was really fun to watch. Firstly, how did that opportunity come about?
Well, it's something I've really wanted to do for a long time. I was the runner-up for a show in the US to be like the compare on it. And I thought I went home and I was sort of really disappointed when I got that phone call, like, you're not our guy. And I thought, well, maybe we can create a show, but then realised that's very difficult to do in Australia. But through that journey, and it was a long one, that we met Ben Davies at Rondi Media, who ended up being our partner. And, I fed him a whole lot of really experiences of things that had happened, things that guests had wanted. And he was like, well, would they happen if the camera turned on? Would it be interesting? And really the format of the show sort of came out. It was really a lot of maybe germs of my idea, but they really it was basically his concept that was developed through over a number of years, and eventually came to screens last year.
Yeah, it was a good watch. So it wasn't scripted though, was it?
No, it's unscripted. Yeah. So no, there's
so it's
no
real. The real demand.
Yeah.
What really actually stood out to me was the behind the scenes and logistics and the people management. I think that was a big emphasis in season 1, was like the people side of running a business. Talk to me a bit about that, like the real life behind the reality TV of the people management and logistics of running a business like this.
Yeah. I think everybody that works in this category has got to be a little bit crazy, so just to deal with the demands and the pressure. So we're very lucky that the team's great. Obviously, the show is about the top 1% in absolutely incredible houses where they've got the full team. Obviously, they don't always have the full team. They might have some of the team. So, you're dealing with staff that are used to dealing with pressure, and obviously not used to having a camera in their face the whole time. And some of them did crack. It was a lot. It was a lot to actually put all the houses together. There could have probably been another show in actually getting the homeowners getting all the pieces together.
Wow.
But I think at the end of the day, everyone was sort of, had a chuckle out of it, and really, some have become stars out of it. George, the chef, is now a social media star and the face of racing New South Wales. So they've enjoyed the experience as such.
It's amazing how reality TV can really propel that celebrity status for people on it as well. It happens across other reality TV shows that I see too.
Yeah,
that's a cool opportunity for your team.
Yeah, no, look, I hope the second series has been announced. We're just waiting on timing, but we hope to see them back for that as well. So, but life goes on. They're all busy looking after high-end guests and perfecting their craft as such.
Is it the same team still with you?
Yes, I would say some of them won't be back. Some of them have gone to work for the royal family, obviously, in places like the UAE and interesting places, and one's on a super yacht at the moment. But obviously we hope to see them back.
Yeah, not a bad life.
Yeah.
And the show showed a lot of Alex kind of managing the team meetings and performance and things like that. Is that the reality of how you both manage the business?
Well, she's the boss, and that's her core role. Mine has been bringing on property managers and individual homeowners that manage their own properties, but hers is running the business and dealing with the operations. So she was taking phone calls, when we would be picking the kids up, and there would be on-screen call as such, where it was JB calling about another staff member, and it'd be Alex trying to keep a kid in the car after school, push a kid in the car after school, and take that and be able to be focused. So it was incredibly demanding for her, and just the nature of unscripted TV meant that you could be called at any time and brought in.
Yeah, we did see that play out. Yeah. Tell me a bit more about that juggle, because you've mentioned your parents as well. How was it starting and growing a business that is now quite a recognizable brand, whilst also trying to juggle young kids and, do the school pickups and all of that kind of thing?
I think that's a lovely thing of working for yourself, essentially, and is that you've got some flexibility. Obviously, there's more flexibility now as a corporate, but hopefully one day the kids will appreciate that we do try and work around them. Do we juggle well? Probably not. Is there a work-life balance? Probably not. But, you find time to go to things that are important, whether it's basketball or netball. My wife is incredibly involved in local community events, whether it's the football, netball. So you make time, and when things build up and you've got too much, we've had to say, I can't do any more, or I've got to step off this board. And that's happened when it's just all encompassing and you're letting people down. And that does happen, is to find out, how much focus that you can give and being careful to say no at times.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It took me a few years to kind of learn that if I was saying yes to something, what was I saying no to? And also being my own boss, and I've got 2 little kids of my own. As you said, there's no work-life balance, but it's chaos in a very good way. Like, I could drop everything at a moment's notice to go be with my kids if I needed to. But when I'm present at work, I'm present at work. And when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. And I think that is the beauty of business ownership, is that you don't get the, definitely don't get the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But you do get the flexibility. And I think a lot of people starting out or starting businesses think they're going to get all this time in the world when they start a business. It's not the case. You have less time, but you make more of it.
Do you find you're picking the laptop up after dinner?
Sometimes if I need to. However, having said that, if I'm doing that, it's because I've probably logged off at like 4 p.m. So I've logged off to go get the kids and spent, done the dinner, bath, bed routine, and then it'll be me logging back on to finish up because I finished early. So it is that kind of, that juggle, but in a nice, like, I love it too. I'm so with you on that. I love having that flexibility.
Yeah. I find that I'm careful now when I'm popping the laptop up, because the kids notice it, and there's sometimes a groan. It's like, oh, here he goes again. Like, do I really need to be on that, or is it almost habitual? Yeah, and I think it's so hard for business owners to be conscious of that. It's a real challenge. My 2-year-old daughter, the other day, I was looking at my phone. She grabs it off me and she went and put it in another room, and I was like, okay, I need to be very conscious of this. I know, and then you see the kids looking at the phones the whole time themselves. I've got a couple of teenagers and a younger one, and they're actually it's the same level of behaviour.
Well, they learn.
They
from
learn,
us.
don't they? It's like you tell them to put the phone down. They're like, hey, you put the bloody phone down.
No, totally. We totally have to role model, I think, the behaviour that we want with them. More recently, you established Staylonger, which is a platform for 30-plus stays. Again, what problem were you seeing that wasn't already being met to create something like this?
So Staylonger bridges essentially short stay platforms such as Airbnb and realestate.com. And we were finding within Luxico, the average price point is $700 upwards, is that we had all this demand for insurance stays, people relocating, or digital nomads that were here, but we just couldn't respond to them with product at a particular price point. And probably the other market was divorcees as well. It was like, okay, someone's life has changed. Where can they go and sort things out for a couple of months? And so really Staylonger came out of the demand that we weren't being able to meet in Luxico, and really broadening the offering as such. From a homeowner perspective and a manager perspective, multi-month stays are far more profitable. And I launched Staylonger at Astra, the short stay conference in the Gold Coast last night, and people loved it because who wants to get, call outs, on the weekend at 2 a.m. Managers are just loving this because it just means that they can take on more product. The homes get looked after a lot better if someone's staying for a couple of months, and it's far less stressful dealing with a multi-month stay than a whole series of, 2-night stays.
It makes so much sense. I'm actually surprised there's not already a market for it, but it makes complete sense because I guess, if you're going on to realestate.com and looking for a short-term furnished stay as well, it's almost impossible to find something for rent for that time period.
Yeah, and look, the way that stays and the real estate platforms look after this category is furnished properties are almost hidden in there, and it's for very rigid periods. Like life has changed. It's far more fluid. If you come and do a project, you might be there for 63 days. You're not going to be there for 6 months, 12 months, and these very rigid type stays. So Staylonger is really interesting in terms of the structure of the stay, where you can come and stay. You can actually book out the next couple of months. You might be here for 3 and just give 30 days notice and say, look, the project's finished, and that's okay. It's really easy to unwind out of the stay as such. So it's all about flexibility.
In addition to being your host, I'm also the founder of 𝐓𝐸𝐺. If you're looking for a law firm that can work with your bold ideas, not against them, you can join the movement for better legals at www.legalight.com.au or follow us on Instagram at @legalight_au. Is it highly regulated at all, being that shorter term stay?
So because we're a platform, it's a license rather than a lease.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that does give you a lot more flexibility then.
More flexibility.
Yeah, rather than coming under residential tenancies legislation and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Do you find it benefits the flip side of that market being homeowners that might, otherwise leave their house empty if they're travelling themselves? Is that who you're tapping into?
There's a whole new market there that don't want to be on traditional short stay platforms or real estate platforms. So it might be that retired couple that think, you know what, I'm going to go and stay in the Gold Coast. Let's make it available. I don't want a whole lot of people coming through every second day or parties with that level of frequency, but I'd be happy if a corporate came for a couple of months.
Yeah.
So for a homeowner, there's some real benefits there. We're going to change people's lives, both on the demand side, on the guest side, but also on the homeowner side.
Yeah, totally. I can totally see that. We've been talking as a family about potentially moving up the coast for a little while to expand my other business. And we absolutely don't want to have people coming in and out of our family home, but also don't want to sell it because we love it and it's probably our forever home. So having the opportunity to have, just one family in there that's going to look after it as their own makes so much sense.
I love it because I think people will be able to test going to a new location, getting the whole family on board by, going for a couple of months before they go and take a long-term lease or before they buy. So we're really excited about the stories that are going to come out of that. And that's the fun part. But, on the pain in the butt side, we've got the life that I'm living at the moment is that, and when I launched this at Astra, my wife had just left the bath running for about an hour and it had flooded our entire house.
Oh my gosh.
So everything's been ripped out. And, we have to move out and had to move out for multiple months. not knowing what the end date is. So it really serves a purpose there as well for people that are affected by things that happen in their houses.
Yeah.
So, I think there are going to be some great stories that come out of this.
There will be so many great stories. How long are you into the business?
So we've just started onboarding managers at the moment.
Okay.
So we launched at 2 managers in October last year, and they're coming on at the moment. So the official launch will be sort of first quarter.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Okay, amazing. It's coming up so soon. Well, your website's already all done and it looks amazing. And it sounds like you've already had a bit of interest.
Yeah, look, we're very lucky in the technology we already had that runs Luxico. So it's essentially a platform that uses the same technology, really targeting 2 different guest and homeowner and property manager types.
I love that. So you've kind of leveraged what you've already got to launch this. Did you say you did a capital raise for Staylonger as well?
We're just about to start a capital raise.
How's that process been so far?
Oh, it's always hard. And I'm the worst at it. But it is, it's just part of the process, and we're having some great conversations at the moment for both strategic partners and high net worths as such. Yeah.
How do you approach those conversations? Do you kind of just go out cold, or are they all relationships?
A lot of them are relationships, people that we know. We're very lucky in that we have Sam McDonough, who is our chairman. He's the former head of Airbnb, New Zealand and Australia. His black book is absolutely incredible. So a lot of been his contacts. He really believes in it. He's working in the business as well. So that's been absolutely terrific. But the conversations are never easy. No one's throwing out a checkbook.
Yeah, no one's throwing money at you.
It's a tough process. Very fortunately, my wife's very good at it. She's very diligent. And so it's never easy.
No, never easy. Did you capital raise with Luxico as well?
Yes, we did. So we're very lucky in that we've got some family offices in. I have some family in as well, which is from the UK family. I've got a couple of very successful uncles that have invested in. And some high net worths as well.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who is looking at capital raising and really struggling to get a foot in the door, or who doesn't have, family that can support them?
I think I'm very careful about giving advice. I'd say go and speak to people that have done it before at different relevant levels. So, the conversation with someone that's, raising, hundreds of millions of dollars is probably different to someone that's doing a startup. They'll probably still remember doing it as well. But we found that people are so helpful. Networks have been great as well. I think I mentioned EO's been great. So talking to people that have done it before, and I continue to, because it's a difficult process even with a great service product technology.
And I think you're always learning, even if you've done it before and you're in the thick of it right now. The world is changing so quickly, and our networks are changing so quickly as well. So always learning.
You're always learning. You're always learning, and also looking for a different way to start a conversation as well. So I think the more people that you can speak to, just picking up the phone is hard, but getting a deck to someone, thinking about the way you're going to approach them so that you stand out and get that first meeting.
And if someone doesn't have those connections, but I guess has really gotten out there and, perfected their pitch deck and is getting a bit of rejection. I don't know if you've ever experienced
I've had heaps of rejection.
I'm glad to hear that.
School of rejection over here. So, and it continues. We've just started, but you're getting, some. It's not for everyone, and sometimes the alignment's not right. But there are people that do and are paid for introductions as well. There are angels. There's the Melbourne Angels out there. Having discussion with people that are in that, and it might be, hey, I'm not looking for money right now, but let's have a conversation about how I might go about this.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And also I found that during my business journey, I've gotten better with rejection over time. It does, as you said, it does continue to happen to the most seasoned entrepreneurs like yourself and people that have gone through successful capital raises or successful growth, what has helped you to build that, I call it rejection muscle or resilience muscle, aside from, exposure, I guess? Has anything?
I still wouldn't say that I still don't like being rejected. I like everybody to like me. So I want people to say, I don't know. I don't think I was hugged enough as a kid, maybe, or something like that. Just kidding. But I do like everyone to like me. I want people to say yes. I don't think I've got anything clever for it, but you've just, I like to hear stories of people that have had, like the Canva guys had 100 rejections, just continue. And I think that probably gives me a little bit of motivation as well. And I'm probably not sitting here saying I'm a seasoned expert.
Well, you are. You are from where I'm sitting, but it's good to hear that you also struggle with rejection because I think that's so normal and so human and it's a journey for sure. Like it did not take me overnight to get comfortable with rejection. It still upsets me, but I can kind of just move forward.
Yes.
And I think when founders get paralyzed by the rejection, that's when it's really a problem.
Yes.
Like it's not going to be forever. And I always say that no one person holds the key to your success. If it's not them, it's going to be somebody else. That's not the way the world works, and it's not the way business works, that we're so dependent on one person to be that key to our success.
No, I agree with that. Have you ever used an accountability partner through the process, someone to sort of keep you on track?
Yes. My husband keeps me very much accountable. He's such a realist. I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
And he's like my barometer for if an idea is actually worth pursuing or not. Because if I share an idea with him, he's like, meh. I'm kind of like, okay, cool. But if he says, yeah, that's a good idea, then I'm like, all right, I'm onto something. And he's also really good with finances. I'm okay with big picture, but he's better on the detail. So I do look to him a lot for that kind of accountability too, because otherwise I just spend and be like, yeah, it's all going to be good.
I love that. I mean, probably the other piece that is the gold nuggets that you can get out of the no's are sometimes really great in reframing the pitch a little bit. Yeah. And some of those conversations, people are very kind and generous with their time to actually go, okay, why didn't this work? And we had what for us, it was a significant raise some couple of years ago, and it was a no. And we learnt a lot through the process. The person on the other end was very kind in actually giving us the information as to why it was a no.
That is so valuable. That is so, so valuable. I do find that not many people are willing to give you the reasoning behind a no. And especially through LinkedIn, like there's a lot of perception of the cold outreach. And I mean, there's awful cold outreaches on LinkedIn, don't get me wrong. But that any outreach on LinkedIn is seen as just cold, and a no is like a no and there's no reasoning behind it. But I guess at the level that you're operating at, when you're having personal conversations, you're asking people for money, for them to actually give you a reason as to what you could do better or how you might pivot and adjust is so, so valuable. Like that's absolute gold. And a lot of entrepreneurs do struggle to get that feedback. It's really hard.
Yeah. I think the warm up and building some type of relationship, we're about to, probably if we sit down next time, I can tell you where we're at, but it's the conversations have started before, hey, this is exactly what we're looking.
Oh, I love that.
It's, we're building this. We're going to be live by this date. We'll make sure that we're live by that date, which is what we've done with Staylonger. Get MVP, get it up, start onboarding properties and say, here's the numbers are coming through. This is where we expect to be. And then say, look, this is a real thing.
And then, and then make the ask.
Yes.
So it's like a warmer lead up.
Yeah. Again, not advice. It's just, for me, I think, again, I like people to like me. So,
this people pleasing has really come in handy for you.
That's right. Yeah. So, that's just been my experience. It's quite often there's a bit of a journey rather than give me cash.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's really valuable. it's really hard when you're doing something like a capital raise or just starting a business to know where to start if you've never done it before. So these are amazing tips, really, really valuable.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your vision for both Luxico and Staylonger kind of over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. Well, we're on I think, a really exciting sort of trajectory in terms of where the space is, in terms of what's happening with people's lives, how we're going to service different scenarios, particularly with Staylonger. So I'm very excited about that. We really see that both platforms will be international platforms very soon. And that's one of the reasons that we've brought on Sam McDonough to help us expand Luxico into all the places first that Australians go and travel. So you can have a Luxico experience in Ibiza. You can go and, places, Mykonos, all those sorts of places. And Staylonger will be the same in city-based locations where someone might have, look for a couple of months in London or Singapore, etc.
Amazing.
And look, the other piece is that, really with Staylonger, it speaks to the local regulations in a lot of places where short stays being tightened up. So we really focus on those locations, servicing those locations as well. So I think that's really the journey.
And how do you expand internationally? Are you looking at getting local advisors, or have you built your team of advisors here that will help you to scale internationally?
So we have obviously our chairman and advisory team, advisors here, but one of the fun things that came out of $1 Billion Playground, and one of the reasons that we did it, was it screened in the UK on the BBC, it screened in France, in Germany. So it did really well overseas, and through that, it really built our network of managers of villas in those places, such as Ibiza. So we started to get a lot of inbound inquiry about, hey, how do we get onto your platform? And we really see that sort of expansion following those sort of those locations. So the expansion is really to bring the product on and have great places for Australians to go and travel.
Oh, that's incredible. What a platform reality TV is. And finally, Tom, what's one piece of advice you've got for someone who's got a bold idea of their own?
Oh, gosh. I hate giving advice. You can always speak to me about my experiences.
Let's call it a tip then, from your own experience.
And probably from someone that's had some bold experiences that have failed miserably, and some that have done well. I'd probably talk through those and really ask them a lot of questions first about how they're going to go and execute those. But I think someone that's got it in the blood to have a bold idea and that's got an entrepreneurial spirit, that's got to be fostered. Yeah. And just to go and get on with it and really manage the downside risk on it. Go and test a few things. Probably not go and speak to too many people who are corporates and that tell you, that your idea is silly, but just figure out how you can get an MVP to market. There is so much that you can do with an MVP. I became a vibe coder recently using Replit. So you can bang up a website. Like the barrier to entry has gone for business. It's like, totally. How fast can you get this thing to market at what price? So, come and have a chat. The things I'm always careful of and the things that have hurt me is things like personal guarantees on leases or any of the, I suppose, archaic world. That would probably be some of the advice I would probably be steering people away from before they go and test their product on an MVP in the digital world as such.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's music to my ears because I'm a lawyer. So it's all about balancing risk with actually taking some risk. Yeah. It's measured. It's very much mitigated. And it's definitely, something I can relate to and see how, it's great advice for someone starting out that may have never owned a business before. Just start with that MVP. That's really valuable advice. So thank you. And thank you so much for joining me. It's been such a pleasure to chat to you about Luxico and Staylonger.
Thanks so much. It's been fabulous. Thanks, Marion.
Thanks. If you loved what you heard, make sure you follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Or even better, leave us a review. And if you have a bold idea of your own, I'd love to hear from you. Check out the show notes to get in touch.